China has a lot of stereotypes, and making cheap, crappy products is way up there on the list. Some stereotypes exist because, in one way or another, at some point, they were true. Back in the 80s and 90s, there was a massive demand for mass-produced, low-quality products for cheap. China stepped up to the plate and stocked the world's shelves with exactly what was being asked for. Cheap products that satisfied the absolute minimum quality requirements. Does China still make cheap, crappy products? Yeah, but only when you force their hand. Not even the cheapest country these days to manufacture in. Labor costs in Vietnam are less than half of what they are in China. So if the sole focus of manufacturing a product is getting the absolute cheapest version, there's better options out there. Now, not many people want low quality products, but they're still being made, and a lot of them are coming from China. Let's get this out of the way first. You can manufacture incredibly high quality products in China. It's been that way for close to 2 decades now, and the quality increases are only going up. Massive brands like Apple, Tesla, Microsoft, DJI, Louis Vuitton, Volkswagen, Fender, they've been successfully manufacturing top tier products for quite a while now. So there's no question that it's more than possible to manufacture a high quality product in China. But let's dive into the main reasons why crappy products still get made. We're gonna look at this from the perspective of someone that's actually trying to create a high quality product. So reason number 1, people get greedy. Saying that you wanna manufacture a high quality product and actually spending the money, spending the effort, and spending the time required to make a high quality product, these are two very different things. Greed is inspired by thinking you can get more for less. And in manufacturing, there's an unlimited amount of very tempting opportunities to cut corners. You would be surprised with how many people are quick to push the lowest cost option. Don't get me wrong, cost optimization is obviously a very important step of design, development, and manufacturing. But when you pick the cheapest option for development and testing and materials, mold creation, packaging, etc., at the end, you're gonna get a hunk of junk for a final product. So there's a bunch of different factors that go into creating a crappy product, and I'm not saying that Chinese factories don't get greedy either. They definitely do. However, getting greedy with your manufacturing costs is a quick way to absolutely tank the product quality. If you want cheap, China will give it to you, but you shouldn't want that. And to be frank, Chinese factories these days don't want that either. The best factories out there, they don't want to make the absolute cheapest quality products anymore. All right, number 2, not listening to your factory. If you're trying to make changes to your designs, to your molds or materials, and the factory is pushing back on your request and warning about any quality issues, even in the slightest, your ears should perk up and you should definitely listen. Chinese factories by nature, they don't want to push back on their clients' requests. So if they are, it's a good idea to at least hear them out and potentially compromise. The inverse is also something to keep in mind. We had a customer making a coffee machine called Atmos. I love this project. It's a beautifully designed cold drip coffee maker made out of stainless steel and glass. When it came to us with his design files, his tolerances were at like NASA levels. The reasoning behind the insane tolerances was totally fair. He didn't want to compromise on quality in the slightest, and he thought that these tolerances were absolutely necessary to, hit those quality levels. But those tolerances were grinding the project to a halt, and the cost of sticking with the original tolerances was astronomical. What we were hearing back from the factory's engineers was, hey, it's not going to the moon, it doesn't need these tolerances. The right thing to do, which he eventually did, was listen to the experts. This factory has been manufacturing this type of component for ages. They've done hundreds of projects like this, and if they're pushing back and saying the tolerance should be X, then there's probably good reason behind it. It doesn't mean that you should just take them at their word, but be willing to hear them out and maybe meet them in the middle. So in the end, he ended up making some compromises to the tolerances, and the project turned out incredibly. Now, you can't just hand over a bucket of money and expect them to make all the right decisions on cost. However, once you've met everyone, you've vetted them, you've gone through the sampling process, you've met the owners, the pricing's looking good, the quality's good, you gotta let the reins go a little bit and let them do the job. When they tell you this isn't gonna work because of ABC, work with them to see why. Don't just say, nah, this is my plan, this is the only way it can be done. You need to be able to listen, or at least be willing to compromise, or be willing to pay the consequence in the form of time, quality, or cost. All right, number 3, prototype obsession. Don't base your expectations on cost or quality on your homemade prototype, or even a professionally made one for that matter. When you come to China, you need to be willing to stray from your prototype, or at least be open to it. I've seen a number of projects get totally scrambled because they had their horse blinders on and they weren't willing to look objectively at any new information outside of what they learned from creating their prototype. Just because the prototype that you took 3 months to put together cost $18 out of parts ordered on AliExpress. It doesn't mean that the cost of production per unit is going to be $18. What about cost of labor? What about time on the production line? Are there DFM modifications that need to be made? A lot of people get a target price per unit stuck in their head, and sometimes those per unit costs just aren't based in reality. It can cause all sorts of different problems. So if you're not willing to stray from your homemade prototype expectations when you come to China, you're gonna be butting heads with a lot of people and putting unnecessary pressure on reducing costs based on just totally unrealistic expectations. So if you do this, you will be forcing someone's hand into cutting corners, swapping materials, or just lying. You need to enter the manufacturing process with an open mind and be willing to compromise. What you learn from creating your prototype is definitely incredibly valuable, but it's not the be all end all. All right, last one, lack of detail. Let's say you're ordering a donut. In your head, you're picturing Homer Simpson's favorite donut, so you ask for a donut with sprinkles. If you get back a plain donut with white sprinkles, you can't be mad. You just ask for sprinkles, and when you ask for something, they're gonna give it to you. They don't see the upside of providing the premium rainbow sprinkles or adding pink dye to the frosting to really make it pop. The second you under detail a product, you'll get the bare minimum of whatever the most basic version of your request is. Think of it like telling your 3 wishes to the genie in the lamp. That genie is gonna twist any ambiguity into the worst case scenario. Now, Chinese factories, they don't do this intentionally. They're not some evil genie in the lamp, but getting back the worst version of what technically meets your request is incredibly common. The only way to combat this is an extraordinary level of detail in everything that you're requesting. So to wrap it up, China is probably #1 in the world at helping the world meet its demands. I mean, go back far enough. In the 1920s, everyone had one pair of shoes, one hat, one watch, and they were really high quality. Then the whole, keeping up with the Joneses came along, and suddenly people wanted more. They asked China, and they met those demands. Suddenly it was possible to own 10 pairs of sneakers and have a living room full of unnecessary gadgets. Now, these days, the world's changing. People don't want the cheap stuff. Buy-it-for-life mentalities and minimalism are more popular than ever. Product quality is one of the top things that people are looking for, and they're willing to pay for it. So, once again, China is standing up to the challenge. We're seeing factories put a much bigger emphasis on quality control standards, and we're seeing more and more project applications coming to us that want to make the Rolls Royce or the Rolex of whatever their product category is. It's not easy to make a high quality product, but it's very doable. You just need the right mentality, a good team of experts, an open mind, and a detailed plan. We're putting out more videos like this in the new year, so subscribe if you want to see more stuff like this. If there's any requests for topics you'd like us to cover, drop a comment down below, and there's a very good chance we'll cover it.